The soft murmur of conversation and the clinking of silverware filled the air inside a Texas Roadhouse restaurant in Savannah, Georgia. It was an ordinary evening, families laughing, waiters bustling between booths, and the warm smell of grilled steaks drifting through the room. At a small table near the patio sat C. Sparks and her mother, just two customers enjoying a quiet dinner together. But their attention soon drifted toward a booth a few tables away, where an older man sat alone. He had long gray hair, a weathered face, and a jacket covered in faded military patches. It didn't take long for Sparks to realize he was a veteran. The man's demeanor was gentle, almost humble. He greeted everyone who passed by with a friendly smile and a cheerful voice. "Hi, how are you tonight?" he said to strangers entering the restaurant. And as each one left, he'd lift his hand slightly and add, "Bye now, hope you have a good night." Some people nodded politely, others smiled back, but many just walked past without even looking at him. Still, the veteran didn't stop. He greeted every single person one after another, as if it was his quiet duty to make their evening a little brighter. Sparks couldn't help but notice that, for all his kindness, he sat alone. When she and her mother were seated across from his booth, Sparks found her eyes drifting toward him again and again. The man had finally received his meal, and there was a certain peace in the way he ate. Slow, grateful, like someone who understood what it meant to go without. Every so often, he'd glance up and smile at the waiters passing by, nodding as if to thank them for their service. Then something unexpected caught Sparks' attention. The waiter, serving him a young man with a kind face, didn't rush off after taking his order. Instead, he stayed. He stood there, listening as the veteran spoke. They laughed together, sharing a light moment amid the restaurant's chatter. The young waiter wasn't just doing his job, he was offering company. For the next several minutes, Sparks watched in silence, feeling a lump grow in her throat. In a room full of noise, one small act of kindness was shining brighter than anything else. She turned to her mother and whispered, "We have to do something for him." Her mom nodded without hesitation. When the veteran's plate was nearly empty, Sparks waved over a manager. "Excuse me," she said softly. "We'd like to pay for his meal. The man's sitting by himself over there." The manager smiled warmly, lowering his voice. "That's very kind of you, ma'am," he said. "But someone else already did." For a moment, Sparks just stared at the manager, unsure if she'd heard him correctly. "Someone already paid?" she asked. He nodded. "Yes, ma'am. Actually, several people offered." Sparks glanced around. She hadn't noticed it before, but the nearby tables were filled with quiet smiles, strangers exchanging knowing glances. The entire section seemed to be connected by an unspoken understanding. Everyone wanted to do something kind for this man. The manager continued, his tone gentle. "I think he has no idea how many people are looking out for him tonight." Sparks felt her chest tighten. There was something so pure about the moment, no fanfare, no speeches, just silent compassion shared by strangers inside a simple roadside restaurant. When the waiter returned to the veteran's table and told him that his dinner had been covered, the man looked confused at first. He blinked, set down his fork, and glanced around. Who did that?" he asked softly. The waiter just smiled. "Sir, a few people wanted to say thank you." For a long moment, the veteran didn't say a word. His hands trembled slightly as he reached for his worn-out cap, the one embroidered with his old military unit. He placed it over his heart. "Tell them," he said quietly, his voice rough with emotion, "that they didn't have to, but thank you, truly." As he stood to leave, every step seemed slower, heavier with feeling. But there was pride in the way he carried himself, not arrogance, but quiet dignity. When he reached the door, he turned to the room one last time and gave a small wave. "Y'all have a good night," he said with a smile. "And thank you for remembering." The restaurant fell silent for a moment before returning to its gentle hum. Sparks watched him walk into the evening, his silhouette framed by the glow of the neon lights outside. Her mother wiped her eyes. "You see that?" she said softly. "Kindness never goes unnoticed, not really." Sparks nodded, staring down at her half-finished meal. "He probably eats alone a lot," she murmured, "but not tonight." When she later shared the story online, people across the country responded, veterans, families, strangers, all touched by the simple reminder that gratitude still exists. The post ended with words that would stay with thousands who read it. "You never know who's watching. You never know whose day you're making better. So be kind always." In a world where too many rush past one another, a lone veteran in a Texas roadhouse had reminded an entire restaurant and soon millions more that respect and compassion don't need to be loud to be powerful. Sometimes they're whispered through a smile, paid forward through a meal, and remembered long after the plates are cleared.